I hope you all enjoy this video that is a dance between the form and the formlessness within the divine expression of all that is. I will be doing a follow-up or a part 2 to this video because I didn't actually explore some of the themes that perhaps I could have gone into. I also didn't really answer the question about there being the possibility of both the divine within form and within the space of the formlessness, the impersonal versus the personal, and exploring the concept of divine avatars and beyond. So likely I will do a follow-up video to this, but enjoy this video for what it is now and enjoy my ramblings. Thank you. What is the difference between the personal and the impersonal within spirituality and religion? I wanted to talk about this a little bit because that's what's really been on my mind this past week, really. I've been going to this Kirtan event. It's a month-long Kirtan festival held by ISKCON. And ISKCON is I'm going to get this wrong, the International Service for Krishna Consciousness. Completely wrong, but basically they're there to promote Krishna and Krishna consciousness. Now, I'm not going to weigh up or judge the whole of the Hindu religion, but what I wanted to speak about was that within the idea of all that is, the divine, God, you have the idea of the personal being the divine within a spiritual form, okay? And then you have the concept of what you would call the all that is. Everything from everything that has consciousness ultimately is energetic in form, and the more you peel back those layers, the more it becomes just energy at the core of what it is. And perhaps even beneath that, you can look at it as stepping into the void or the space of no thing. Now, which would be considered the impersonal. Now, when you're looking at this space of consciousness without form, you are taking away all sense of self. Okay, so when you see me speaking about the true self, okay, what I'm actually talking about is that space that you can access within your being, within your soul, the space that's connecting you to the truth of who you are, which is that connection to all that is. That space ultimately has both the spiritual form, but it also has the formlessness. And to me, I really struggled with the idea of their, like when I used to think in the past of Christianity and the idea of there being a man up in the sky, just watching down at us. And I wondered, because I was struggling with it this week, whether that was just me looking in the past and struggling with the past, the trauma, the anger of the idea of there being a God in form, in person that would allow this space of suffering to occur across the planet. But as much as that used to be part of that used to be part of what really brought me on to the spiritual path, really, when I was going through the loss of my friend, I was really, at that time and beforehand, I didn't believe in God anyway. I was very much considered myself an atheist. But when he was at the point of passing, I remember being in the hospice at the time, and it wasn't long before he was going to pass. And I remember going into this multi-faith room that they had in the hospice, and I was just having this conversation with the potential idea of there being a God, and just saying, why would you allow this to happen? And now I don't want this video to go into the morality of of why suffering exists. That belongs in other videos and other spaces. But it was a very valid and fair question. And it's rightly so that it would come up when you were looking at the idea of God from the impersonal and the personal. I've since wholeheartedly stepped beyond that, but I had to re-question that within this last week to see if there was some root of why that was. And perhaps to some degree that is coming up, because my struggle when I look at the idea of God being in the spiritual, in a personal form as the ultimate form, is what I would struggle with. And that ultimate form suggests that this idea of God I don't want to say a personhood, it's wrong. We're talking about a personal representation of God in form. To me, when you put a form around something, energetic or physical, you are putting a conscious intention around that form. And when you put a conscious intention around the form, you are also putting a limitation around the form. Which is why, to me, I still believe that the consciousness of all that is a greater aspect of the divine that at least I understand in the present. And it's important for each of us to dive into this for ourselves. I hadn't thought about the idea of the divine being in form as the ultimate expression of the divine until I started going to this into this event, and I started looking deeper. I'd read the Bhagavad Gita whilst I was here, and I'd attended a few of the classes here, because ultimately there is a lot of truth, there is a lot of knowledge that is there for me to that has helped me in this, especially in this last week as well. But that idea is still a struggle for me to wrap my my head, my mind, and my heart around. And I'm not saying that I don't believe it, nor can I come to an understanding to understand it. I just believe, for my own development so far, that the expression of the divine is there to come in all forms. And so let me give you a quick example of this, and then I'll close the video. This is just my my ponderings, really. The reason why I think it helps for people to see God in a personal form is because it gives a direction for them to focus their love and their service towards. Now, which I think is great until you look at the limitation of behind the form. But I'm happy for people to open my eyes on that. What I believe is that we're here within the physical form. We are spirit within the physical body, within this projecting within this physical reality. Okay, and the divine is here in all forms of expression around us. And I, in my personal form, am very limited. Of course, I'm very limited. But the way in which I can create a connection with the divine is by opening up my heart, opening up my intuitive space and my intuitive senses to be able to relate to the to the environment that I'm perceiving around me. Because once I can start to relate, be it in whatever form. So if I'm taking a walk out in nature and I have a question, this is an exercise that I use in my new book, but I can take a walk with a positive and willful intention that I will receive an answer to my question. I'm ultimately opening up and engaging with a relationship with the divine. Don't know what that noise is. And that relationship with the divine is going to be expressed to me from all forms of consciousness that I'm going to come up against in my walk, in my intuitive walk that I go for. And if I allow myself to acknowledge that I am this soul within the body, and if I allow myself to acknowledge that all forms of consciousness that I meet on this journey, on this walk, but in life in general, I can go deeper into conscious relationships with them, and ultimately at the depth, peeling back all those layers and going through the depth of those expressions of consciousness, I am communicating with the divine in all different forms. Us in our limited forms, limited but very much divine forms. I might have used this example before, and it's not my example. I can't remember where it's come from, but if you've probably heard it. But when you look at the sun, and that sun that gives all the light and life that is out there, and if you think of that sun as being that true expression of consciousness of the divine, and then you can imagine that actually us that come up in the form of the divine, of an expression of the divine, is actually like akin to the sun's rays. Okay, and each of these sun's rays can be seen as an aspect of the divine, yet we are not the sun in its entirety. So our expression of consciousness is, for me and my understanding to date, is part of our journey is to expand upon our understanding and our expression of consciousness, to expand the experience of God. So that space of dancing between the form and the formlessness is still something that I'm exploring in this life, and something that I really want to start to dive deeper into. But it's going to take time for me to really explore what wants to come up, always within the present, always within that present space that will allow me to recognize and to deepen that relationship with the divine as it wants to express itself within any given present moment. So that's my my ramblings for the moment. Yeah, I'll have some more structured content soon. But if you want to, my book has now just been released today. It's available as ebook and as a physical copy. So please, if you feel like supporting me, then grab the ebook. It's cheap, $1.99 at the moment until the end of the month. And yeah, I'm excited to get the physical copy in my hands. On top of that, I have the True Growth community, which will be coming up, and I'll probably dedicate a whole video to the community itself coming up shortly in the future. But if you want to get involved, you can join as a founding member for free at the moment. And the idea of the founding member is to help the community grow, and so that you become part of the foundational support for the community as it starts to grow in membership and in like-minded community. So thank you very much, you beautiful people. Have a gorgeous day, and I hope you enjoyed the beautiful surroundings that we have around us at the Ganges here. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.